We're back here on Rin's world, the home planet of the Crimson Fists. You can see the devastation that's been taking place, and there is a Drukhari raiding force that has decided to try and find some prisoners to take back to Camorra. Unfortunately, they're going to get more than they bargained for, because Pedro Cantor is out and about. He's got a battalion with him, and he's somewhere hidden within these buildings. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. We're playing a no mercy mission from the Eternal War, which is kill points essentially. So it's going to be who can knock the snot out of each other the most. So let's see where we're going to be set up, get deployment done, and then we'll start. So here we have 1500 points of Dark Elder, or Drukhari as they're now called. This is a Cult of Strife list. It's a battalion detachment led by Lilith Hesperax. With the second HQ we have a Homunculus. He is accompanied by a squad of Racks, and they have a Raider as a dedicated transport. Then in the troops choices we have a small squad of Witches with a Raider, another squad of Witches with a Raider. Then in fast attack we have two squads of 10 Hellions, and then in the heavy support slots we have one Ravager here with Destructors, I think they're called, and another Ravager here with Dark Lances. So altogether this is 1500 points in 8th edition, so that gives them 3 command points plus the bonus 3 for being Battleforged, so this army is rocking with 6 command points. So here we have 1500 points of Space Marines, Crimson Fist to be precise, a battalion led by Pedro Cantor and accompanied by a captain with a Storm Shield and Power Sword. There's a squad of 9 Stern Guard with a drop pod. I believe that this captain is going to be accompanying them. Filling the troops squads, we have a unit of Scouts with sniper rifles and a tactical Marine squad with a Razorback with twin las cannons. And then in fast attack we have 2 land speeders. We also have a Storm Talon gunship, and then in heavy support a Devastator squad with a mixture of heavy bolters and plasma cannons. So that's 1500 points. Much like the Drukhari army, this is 3 command points plus the 3 bonus for being Battleforged, so 6. So let's have a look at the table. Right, so my opponent today is Nathan, my son, and he's going to be playing the Crimson Fists, which are the love of his life, and I am the Drukhari. So we're going to roll off to see who gets to choose which deployment map. So I've got a 3, he's got a 1, so I'm going to choose Dawn of War, I think, yeah, Dawn of War, and I'm going to deploy on this side. So let's do the deployment and then we'll come back. Just a quick intermission, guys. For those of you who've seen our battle reports before, you often see Lionel or Bobby. This is the new addition. This is Gizmo. Somewhere around, not quite sure where they all are, but the other 3 dogs are here. I'll try and get them on film later on for you. So here we are after deployment. The Drukhari are all down through here, pretty much in a line. Most of their focus is at this end of the table. There is a squad of Hellions here designed to try and outflank. Matching off across them, we have the 2 land speeders here. The Scouts are up here in a commanding position. Tactical squad in the Razorback. The Devastators are here, and Pedro Cantor is tucked around there. One thing I forgot to put on the table was there's also this, what's it called?
Whirlwind.
This Whirlwind was part of the army, and we didn't put it into the pictures earlier on, so that's been deployed. We also have down here the Storm Talon, and then in reserve we have the Stern Guard with the captain in the drop pod. So the only thing left to do now is to see if we can steal the initiative. Oh, can't see what it is. What is it, Nath?
It's a 6.
It's a 6. Oh dear. So the Crimson Fists have stolen the initiative. And the interesting thing is for everyone, although this is 1500 points, when we look at power levels, the Drukhari have come in at 79 power level, and the Crimson Fists are
91.
91. Let's see if that tells a tale as we go through the game. At the end of the turn 1 movement phase for the Crimson Fists, we have the 2 land speeders have moved across, trying to get a firing line down through here. The Storm Talon has flown across at speed, the drop pod has come in, and we've got a firing line jumped out right in front of these vehicles here. Quite an aggressive play by the Crimson Fists. So let's see what happens when they pull the trigger. So at the end of the shooting phase, we've got a few Hellions here that have dropped. We'll do a morale test for those in a minute. We've also, first blood has been scored with the Raider here destroyed, and we've lost a couple of the guys from inside. And then Lilith got targeted by the sniper scouts, and she's now down to 4 wounds. And she's only got that many because she used a number of command points to re-roll some saves. And they did the same to re-roll the hits. So that was an interesting first turn of shooting. Let's just quickly work out if anyone dies to morale tests, and then we'll see if there's any assaults. So just before we go into the assault phase, we managed to make the morale tests here and here. There's only 1 assault to be declared, and this squad of Stone Guards are going to try and make it in onto the Witch squad here. They need to get a 10 to get within an inch, so let's just see whether they make it. They don't, they fail on a 7. So let's go to turn 1 for the Drukhari. So we're in the turn 1 movement phase for the Drukhari. The Hellion squad here have moved forward. They're looking to put some supporting fire in on the Stern Guards. We've got the Homunculus, the Rax, the Witch squad and Lilith herself are looking to try and charge them down and do some damage. We've now got the Ravager with the Destructors targeting the Storm Talon, and then the other Ravager supporting the smaller squad of Hellions as they are now, going to try and hurt these over here. So we're pretty much ignoring a few units. Going to take a lucky pop shot here down through at this las cannon, but we'll see what happens. So that's it. Pretty much like the Crimson Fist, there's no psychic phase, so let's go straight into shooting. We've just started the shooting phase, and these are the dice rolls to hit for the Hellions at one of the land speeders. I need 3s. Look at that. That's not good. So I've got 4 hits, but I need 6s to wound. So let's just see if I actually manage to wound it at all. But we managed to pull off 2 wounds. Do we get the saves?
So I want to free up.
Saved them both. Ah dear, not so good. So that was an interesting shooting phase. I feel like I wish to have done more damage, but my opponent is not happy with the amount of damage I did do. So we have 1 land speeder is down to 2, the other one is untouched, and I fired almost everything I could up at Storm Talon, and it's on 2 wounds remaining. And I managed to shoot out 2 Stern Guard, and I fired with all of these, all of these, all of these, and it wasn't enough. So that's the end of the shooting phase. Let's now go into the assault phase and see what we can do. So the reason why my opponent's not so happy is this thing is considerably nerfed now. Its movement speed is right down to about 20 inches, and it's only hitting on a 5-up. So that's one of the new things in 8th edition. So most of your vehicles, as they get more and more damaged, are less effective. So as I said, back to the assault phase now. So I keep calling it the assault phase, it's actually the charge phase. I'm in, but you might notice that the witches are gone. The Stern Guard shot them all down in Overwatch, which wasn't a great move for me, but hey, it happens. But I've got all of the Hellions in, I've got Lilith, I've got the Homunculus, and I've got the Rax in. So let's go straight into the fight phase and see if we can kill me some Space Marines. Right team, before we give you the outcome of the turn 1 assault phase for the witch cult, other dogs, promised you other dogs. There's the old English look, cuddled up with the pup. Then we've got the Labradoodle sat over there, and then Lionel, who you've seen before, I'm not quite sure where he is, hiding somewhere else. So, assaults. Over here we've managed to kill 4 Space Marines. In return, 2 Hellions have been killed, and Lilith was given a wound as well. So we have 3 Stern Guard left, plus the Captain. So we're just going to off camera quickly do all the morale tests and see if anything else happens. So we did the morale tests, no further damage caused. They needed a 3 to survive, and they shall know no fear with the reroll, they've stayed locked. And then over here, forgot to mention, these tried to multi-assault the land speeders but failed to reach. So that's the end of turn 1. Let's go straight now into turn 2 for the Crimson Fists. End of turn 2 movement phase for the Crimson Fists. The land speeders have moved back. The Storm Talon has stayed put. This squad have jumped out, and they may or may not. I don't think they're going to assault. They're just going to probably shoot this, I'm guessing. And that's about it for the Crimson Fists. The one thing that's interesting when it comes to the shooting phase, and unless we've got it wrong, these guys can shoot their pistols when they're within an inch of models. So that's how we're going to play it. If anyone is aware that that's wrong, please do tell us. So, moving on, shooting phase. End of Crimson Fist turn 2 shooting phase, and the Ravager that was here has been taken down. Awful lot of shooting came in from here, here and here. Even the Razorback here fired across, but they eventually managed to pull it down. And then moving around to here, this Raider has been dropped down to 3 wounds. They couldn't quite manage to knock it out, which is what they were trying to do. So that's the end of the shooting. Let's go straight into the charge phase. End of the assault phase. Nothing much happened here, but in this squad we managed to pull down the rest of the Space Marine Stern Guard squad, and the captain is down to 3 wounds. So things are looking a bit tricksy. However, in return, Lilith has been pulled down another wound. So let's go into the second half of turn 2 and let the Drukhari have a go, see what they can do. So at the end of the movement phase, the Witch squad got out of the Raider. The Raider has fallen back but is allowed to shoot because it's got the fly rule. The Ravager has moved around and is going to try and finish this Storm Talon off, whilst the Hellions have still got the land speeders in their sight. So that's it pretty much for the movement. Let's go straight into the shooting now and see if we can hurt some of these Adeptus Astartes. So that's the end of the shooting phase for the Drukhari, and we now have the Storm Talon has been destroyed. Didn't manage to wound the land speeder, but hopefully I can get into close combat this time. And then over here we've killed a couple of the tactical squad members here. So we're going to go for an assault in a minute, so let's go straight into it, see what we can do. So that's the end of the assault phase, and it's gone pretty well. The Witches here managed to annihilate the 3 Space Marines, and these units overwhelmed the captain and have consolidated forward. And then over here, the Hellions managed to destroy the land speeder. I almost chose to consolidate in and then realised I didn't need to, because it's a flyer as well. It will automatically be able to pull out of the combat, so it wouldn't have gained me anything. So that's the position as it stands at the moment. The land speeder did explode, but no damage was done to the Hellions, but there was 1 wound done on the land speeder that's remaining here. So that's it for now. So it's now the end of turn 3 movement for the Crimson Fists, and the land speeder that was there has moved across here, trying to consolidate their position. No movement from the Razorback. The Whirlwind has moved forward, Pedro has moved forward, and the Devastator squad have come out. It looks like they're going to try and lay down as much shooting as they can and then follow it up with an assault. So let's see what happens as we move into the shooting phase. End of turn 3 shooting for the Crimson Fists, and the Raider here is down to 1 wound, couldn't quite manage to destroy it. Snipers up here attempted to kill Lilith, but no wounds taken. Slightly different story here. The Devastators here shot through and killed the squad of Racks, and there was 1 of the Witches here were taken out. There were some good saves on behalf of the Drukhari and some poor rolls on behalf of the Crimson Fists. So that's it for shooting. Let's see what happens as we go into the assault phase. So this could be epic. At the end of the charge phase, the Devastators have managed to charge through and hit the homunculus, and Pedro pulled off a large charge and he's made it in onto the Hellions. So let's now resolve some of this fighting. Right, so that's the end of the assault phase for the Crimson Fists, and the tough homunculus has been dragged down to 2 wounds. One wound has been luckily done to Pedro and he's killed 2 of the Hellions. So that's the end of turn 3. Let's move into the bottom half of turn 3. End of the Drukhari movement phase, and the noose is tightening. The 3 skimmers have moved around. They're looking to put some hurt down here. The witches have charged forward, and around here the Hellions are coming around on their flanking move. And then we have the ongoing fights here, and it looks like Lelith Hesprax is going to join in. So let's go straight now with no delay into the shooting phase. So end of the shooting phase, and everything's fired at the Razorback, and it's now down to 2 wounds remaining. We have some new assaults to declare, with the Hellions are going to have a go at the Land Speeder because all their shots pinged off of it, and the Witches are going to try and finish off the Razorback if they can. Now the only other thing is, of course, is Lelith is going to join this fight with the Devastators. So let's get at it. Wow, this wasn't the assault phase that I was hoping for. Lelith has been pulled down by the Devastators. The homunculus is on 1 wound. I did manage to kill another 1, maybe 2 of them, but nothing more than that. Pedro took no damage and pulled another one of the Hellions down. No damage done to the Razorback, and although I managed to do a couple of wounds to the Land Speeder, in return it knocked one of the Hellions off of its skyboard. So yeah, not great. It's these Devastators. These are the guys who are causing me a problem at the moment. And there's not a lot I can do about it. They're going to kill me this turn. So, turn 4, Space Marines. So end of turn 4 movement phase for the Crimson Fists. The Land Speeder has jumped across here. The Whirlwind has moved round. They're trying to make sure that they're within the buff zone for Pedro Cantor as he works his way through these. The Scouts have stayed put up here, maintaining their firing position. They think they're safe. So let's go straight in and see what happens as he shoots away. End of the shooting phase, and this Raider has been dragged down to 4 wounds remaining, and the one that was left here has been destroyed. Quite an important move because this is kill points in this game, so that's another 1 scored. So that's it for the shooting phase for the Crimson Fists in turn 4. Let's see what they can do as we work out all of the assaults that are ongoing. So end of the assault phase, no damage done here on either part. The Land Speeder moved in and Pedro kept fighting, killed 2 Hellions between them. They've been really lucky with their dice rolls, but Pedro's been no further damaged. But things have swung around. The homunculus has managed to get his mojo sorted, and he's killed 3 of the Devastators. So it's starting to swing back there, and now of course we've got the Hellions back here as we move into turn 4 for the Drukhari. End of turn 4 movement phase for the Drukhari, and the Raider has moved around here, looking like it's going to try and shoot at the Whirlwind. The Ravager has moved around this building here, also drawing a line down through. And then finally the Hellions have jumped up and are going to try and deal with the Scouts. Everything else is locked in combat, so let's see what effective shooting can be done this turn. So at the end of the shooting phase, highly effective. This thing fired through, no wounds. This one fired through, no wounds. All of the Hellions fired up at these guys, no wounds. Okay, let's do some assaults. The Drukhari are supposed to be good at this, so let's see if we can get a good result from it. So end of turn 4 assault phase, and it's all going horribly wrong. The Devastators managed to pull down the homunculus. I managed to kill 2 of the scouts up here for no damage in return, and I charged in with the Ravager using the shock prow, and I managed to do nothing to the Razorback. Meanwhile over here, Pedro Cantor and the Landspeeder have fought their way out, killing all of the Hellions. Not looking so good now, so we're now going into turn 5 for the Adeptus Astartes. End of the movement phase, turn 5. The Landspeeder has moved around in advance to get Linebreaker. The Whirlwind has moved across. It's going to be shooting this. It's keeping within 6 inches of Pedro. The Devastators have moved forward to keep within 6 inches of Pedro. And he's going to go and see what his Power Fist can do on this Ravager. So that's all of the movement done for turn 5 for the Space Marines. So let's see what they can do in the shooting phase. So at the end of the shooting phase, the Raider has been blown to pieces by the Devastator squad and the Whirlwind with its supporting fire, and that's all there was to do in the shooting phase. But now we're going into the charge phase as Pedro tries to fist the Ravager. At the end of that assault phase, the Hellions have killed the scouts and have consolidated down here, ready to join the fight. Here, 1 wound done on the tank. It's now done. It's down to 1 wound. As for Pedro Cantor, he came charging in, intending to powerfully fist the Ravager. Instead, all he did was stick a finger in its tailpipe. No damage done whatsoever. So here we are at the end of turn 5. Let's see if the game continues. On a 1-2 it ends, and that's it. Thank you very much, Nathan. Epic handshake. Let's now quickly, we'll break and see how many kill points we've got and who the winner is. So guys, that's us done now. That was a really good game. It went back and forth. At one point I thought the Drukhari had the game, then I thought the Crimson Fists had it. Who could have called it? But as I'm probably sure you've worked out, it's a win to the Crimson Fists. 11 points to 6. The Drukhari did manage to score, what was it they scored? Oh, Linebreaker. Yeah, they scored Linebreaker. But the Crimson Fists took First Blood, Slay the Warlord and Linebreaker as well with that sneaky move with the Landspeeder at the end. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and we'll be back soon.